Live. Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to Data Driven Real Estate Agents Models for Success. My name is Danielle Mapes, and I have the privilege of bringing to you a very special guest who I adore. Her name is Lisa Whitacre, and she is in Missouri and Illinois. Lisa, say hi.
Hi.
Hey, Lisa. So, to what parts of Missouri and Illinois do you service?
So in Illinois, it's Madison and St. Clair counties and the surrounding areas. And then in Missouri, it's like St. Louis and out the outskirts of St. Louis as well.
Okay, awesome. So the reason why I brought Lisa on today specifically is because today we're going to talk about lead generation and consistency. And I have coached hundreds of agents across the US and Canada on how to build a massive pipeline while living their best life. And Lisa is one of the most consistent students with lead generation that I've ever had. So you guys have a lot to learn from Lisa. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to answer questions from new members live. And you know what? Let me just tune in here on my phone so that I can see. All right, so now I'm in here on my phone so that I can see. I'm going to turn this down. Okay, so now I can see who's watching. I can see what your questions are. If you have additional questions as we go through this, let us know. So Lisa, let's give some context to these folks, okay? You're in Deal-A-Day pipeline. You're being trained by me how to use natural, intentional conversations to actually identify real estate transactions and build a timeline. Right? So when did you start this process with us?
It was in July, I think. I think it was July.
Okay. And how much gross commission income have you found and put in your pipeline as of today?
I didn't look at it yet today. You probably know that number better than me.
Have you crested $1 million yet?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we got July, August, September. We're in October. She's in her 4th month. You guys, that's $250,000 a month that Lisa is finding. Okay. So Lisa, we're going to get into today. We're going to get into what are the things you're doing to find those deals and put them in your pipeline. And then we're going to help people understand the difference between right now business and a pipeline. Okay. If any of you are watching the trial going on right now, with the National Association of Realtors and a few other defendants, you're going to realize that the future of the real estate industry is very much up in the air. Okay. And the one thing that will save you is having a pipeline. Okay. Having a pipeline, having lots of people in that pipeline, having lots of options for people that already know you, they know you're a realtor, you know their next move, and nurturing those relationships so that you can insulate your business with listings because we don't know what's going to happen on the buy side. And so that you have enough units closed at the end of the day, that if commissions end up dropping for any reason, okay, if the commissions you charge end up getting pushed down by, by competitive forces, that you have enough at least to continue to stay in the industry, because we will lose a lot of agents this year. So this is a really important conversation, and you guys have no better guides right now than Lisa Whitacre herself and me, the woman who coached her. So let's head into it. Lisa, the first question that we have comes from Dylan Moyston. So Dylan Moyston says, I said, if you could change one thing about your real estate business, what would it be? And he says, the amount of appointments that I go on. So Lisa, have you seen an increase in the amount of appointments that you go on as a real estate agent since starting Deal-A-Day?
No, I have less appointments, but I have more conversations with just in my everyday life.
Interesting. Can you explain a little bit more? Because that is not the answer I expected from you, but at the same time, I completely understand what you're saying, but I don't think anyone else is going to understand what you mean by that. So here's the thing. What Lisa is saying is she's built $1 million pipeline. And it actually doesn't have to do with the appointments she's gone on. Okay, so Lisa, talk to me about that. What do you mean by conversations versus appointments?
So a conversation is not something you really plan it. you do try to find and talk to people, but it's really the opportunities, they just come if you have the conversations. So I just call past clients up, or I call friends up and talk to them and try to catch up with them, and don't even talk about real estate. And then eventually that does come into the conversation, and they may say, we bought our house 4 years ago, but we're thinking about selling it again, and we want to list it. Or we have a friend that, is looking for a house, and would you be willing to talk to them? And then I get appointments, but the appointments, they have to have the conversations first.
Okay. So what I love about what I think you're saying, and I'm going to say this, and I want you to tell me if I'm right. Okay. What I hear you saying is, before, you used to think of the lead indicator in your business as setting an appointment, doing a listing presentation, doing a buyer consult. And what you're saying to me now is that if you have these conversations the right way, and you build that pipeline and you nurture those relationships, you actually can do more business with less appointments. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So Dylan, I think the gold in what Lisa just said to you, because Lisa, are you going to do more business now than ever before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Like how much more? What would you say this effect is going to have on your income?
I would say it would at least double if things keep going the way they are now.
Okay. So the interesting thing to me is actually in the definition and the subtlety of what Lisa is saying. She's saying she used to see it as appointments. She used to see it as presentations. She used to see it as her selling her services. Now she sees it as relationships and information and helping advise people. And it's almost a given. There doesn't even need to be an appointment. It's just, okay, you're ready. Let's go. Contracts are signed. Let's move forward. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Dylan, mindset shift. That's my best advice to you is start thinking less about the professionalism and the presentation, and instead reframe it as, how many deals do I have in my pipeline? How many people can I say I know their next real estate transaction, no matter when it is? Build that pipeline and have really deep conversations with people, and you won't even have to fight for the business when it comes. Okay. I love that. Oh my gosh, Lisa, you kind of blew my mind right now. I'm so proud of you. Okay. Rob Novak says he wants to talk about better and easier lead generation. So Lisa, what would you say to Rob? How has your lead generation gotten better or easier, and what could he learn from it?
The thing that has gotten easier is that I don't have to make cold calls anymore. I detest that. And when I found out, that's what drew me to this program, was the fact that I could learn how to do real estate without making cold calls and paying for leads and all of that. So as far as lead generation goes, the vendor partners are like the best thing, and your past clients, and they like to hear back from you. And that is a way to lead generate, to just call your past clients up. You never know what they're going to say. They might have 2-3 other people that they're going to refer you to, and you might not, but you're caught up with them. And then when they're ready to sell, or they have a friend, they're going to call you. They're going to think about you because you talk to them.
So Lisa, let's talk about that conversation a little bit. When you call past clients, what do you say?
Hey, how you doing? How's the house?
How are you? How's the house? That's simple, right? And when you build, so let's say you don't have past clients, okay? Because we don't know, maybe Rob doesn't have past clients. The other thing she said is vendor partners. So can you talk to us a little bit about, how does this fit into your lead generation, and how does this help you actually connect with and serve more people?
So I called a vendor. I just give an example. I called a vendor partner, someone who, a brand new one that someone had told me about. So I called them up and said who I was, and I'd like to add them onto my list. Would they be interested? And that I give, I'd like to have a list to pass out to my clients. And they did. And I called their referrals. When I called their referrals, I got 2 of them there that now are, one is going to be a buyer and one is going to be a seller. because I called the referrals and I just had a nice conversation with them. And they said, they led the conversation more than I did. And I've
Okay.
had one appointment with one of them, and the other one is probably going to be in the next few weeks.
So number one, you build your vendor partner list. You look for people that you're going to need in order to service all of your clients, all of your, sphere of influence.
Right.
They need a roofer, they need a plumber, they need a painter, whatever, right? You
Right.
have an application. There are 3 references listed. You call those references. Let's talk about that conversation. How do you approach that conversation? And how does it happen so pleasantly where they just lead the conversation and give you this info? What would you advise people?
So I just, first of all, introduce myself. I tell them who I am, and I tell them why I'm calling and who gave me their number. So they know I'm not some crazy person out there.
Mhm.
And so I do that. And then I ask them, how was their experience with the plumber or whoever it was that gave me their number. And they'll usually go on and talk about that for a while. And the one lady that I called, that I was referring to, I did that with her. And then she asked me, by the end of our conversation, she said, so what is it again that you do? And I said, well, I'm a real estate agent. And she said, oh, well, then that's what I need. I've been needing one of them, and I trust the plumber. And if you trust him, then I trust you. And so it was it helped her to trust me to help her out too, as well. So I don't know if that answers the question or not.
No, it absolutely does. I mean, basically, you were just talking with her, not about real estate at all. You didn't go after
No,
the sale. You were just
no,
vetting this vendor and getting information from her about what she loves about him. And then
yeah,
she asked you, wait, why are you doing this? What do you do for a living? How does this, and you just told her, I'm a realtor. The matter of fact is there's a lot of people right now in their homes and in their families that are thinking about the future and thinking about the real estate market, and they don't know what to do. And they're not talking to professionals because right now they're paralyzed,
yeah,
right? So if we can go into that relationship, and because we already know somebody, it gives us that sense of closeness because we know
mhm,
someone mutually. So I love it, love it, love it. So past clients, how are you? How's the house? Building your vendor partner, calling the 3 references, and just having conversations with people. I dig it. Okay, so Rob Novak, that one was for you. Monique Landolfi. So this is very similar. We might have some overlap here, but Monique Landolfi says, I want more clients. What would you say to Monique Landolfi?
get out and socialize a little bit. I joined the Chamber of Commerce, and that's helped. I haven't got actually anything. I got 2 vendor partners from the Chamber of Commerce so far, but I haven't been able to attend the past 2 things that they've had because I had overlapping things going on. But join things like that and go out and talk to people. If you're not talking to people, it's not going to work. You have to talk to people, whether it's on the phone or whether it's at a party or a get together or even the park, or you go get your hair done or whatever. You got to talk to people.
So I want to add to that. There's really a few things, and I just pulled up our Streamline Success workbook because I'd like to share some stuff from it. But there's a few things that I think are really helpful. And actually, I think I've already got this up here. So let's see. Where did it go? Here it is. Okay. My screen share is loading. Okay, so this is from our Streamline Success, okay? And one of the things that I want to point out here is lead generation and lead follow-up are 2 different time blocks, okay? They're 2 different time blocks. And if you want more clients, you have to do both, okay? You have to, number 1, hit your number of daily conversations, intentional conversations, go deeper with people about their lives, okay? Listen for the triggers for a move, listen for the changes in their lives. And that's your lead generation time block. The goal there is to talk to as many people as possible in a meaningful way so that you can find out what their next real estate transaction is and build your pipeline. It's that simple. And the more you put in your pipeline, the more clients you will have. Okay, so always think, if you're worried, do more. If you're worried, do more. Never skip your lead generation. Be consistent. We're going to talk about that in a second. And then, last but not least, if you need a little bit extra, have another conversation, right? Now, lead follow-up is the second piece of this puzzle. You can't just build a pipeline and let it sit, okay? So Lisa, what do you do for lead follow-up? Like, how do you approach people that are in your pipeline so that it doesn't feel icky and you can still stay in touch? What are you working on now?
I try to think of something that I know about them. I might look on their Facebook page or something like that and see how I can reverse problem solve with them. If it feels icky to call and just say, "Are you ready yet?" Better off to just call and talk to them about something personal in their life and see how they can help me. And then probably that would just come into our conversation naturally.
So you don't actually follow up with them specifically about the real estate transaction. You make the initial reason for the call something else.
Yeah, now sometimes I do. Sometimes I do call about that. It depends. Like if there's somebody who I know is going to be ready real soon and they're like, they should be ready in a month. I'm going to call and say, "Hey, how's the pre-approval going? Did you get it taken care of? Do you need me to give you another name of a lender?" I'll check in with them like that. But if it's someone that's down the road, like a year from now, I'm not going to keep harping on their pre-approval or I'm going to just try to be human with them and talk to them. And then eventually that will come in our conversation.
So I heard you say two things: information about their personal life that you can follow up on. Okay, how did this go? How did that go? How is this person doing? Right? Or a reverse problem solve. Can you define that for anyone who's watching? What is a reverse problem solve?
So let's say that I'm talking to you, Danielle, and I really love your glasses. And I'll just say, "Hey, I love those glasses. Where did you get those at, by the way?" And that just kind of, you have an eye doctor. Where do you go? And that starts the conversation.
Yeah. So any authentic reason to say, "Hey, do you have a good," or "Where did you get that?" Any compliments, things like that. So if you're in person, compliments work really, really well. If it's over the phone, sometimes just saying, "Hey, I know you guys have a pool. Who do you use to open and close your pool for the season? I have a client who needs one." So that's a reverse problem solve. So Monique, you've got to do lead generation. You've got to do lead follow-up. Those are the two things you've got to do every single day. And remember, human, then realtor, then human, right? All right, so let's go on to the next question, and we're just about wrapping up here. Alexander Abro, so he asked about current lead generation. Is there anything else you just want to add? Like when you sit down for lead generation for the day, what are the 3 tips you can give someone for successful lead generation?
Well, you need to plan for it. You kind of need to think about, before you even start, you need to think, okay, am I going to call vendor partners today? Or am I going to call past clients? Am I going to go out and talk to people out and about? What am I going to do? You have to be prepared for what you're going to do. And sometimes I like to think about it the night before, just so in the morning I know what I'm doing when I start. I don't know exactly. 2 more things would be,
Well, so planning is one, right? So you plan the night before. We have students who plan in the morning as well after they track, whatever works for you. You plan your strategy, okay? Then let's talk about who to talk to. You've already touched on this once or twice. What are your best go-tos for your lead generation?
So I really do like to call my past clients. I do enjoy doing that, and I do enjoy calling the vendor partners. Those are my 2 favorites. And then I have to push myself to go out and talk to somebody out. I'm not as good at that. I like to talk on the phone. I'm okay with that.
So let's talk about talking to people out and about. Okay. So she said vendor partners, past clients, and then I try to go out and about. Every now and then I try to go out and about and talk to strangers. What is one way that you've seen a conversation with a stranger go really, really well?
So I talked to a waiter when I was out actually in Maryland for my mother-in-law's surgery, and we were eating dinner, And the waiter was super friendly. And I just started talking to him, asking him if he was from around there. How long has he lived there? Things like that. And he said, right off the bat, well, I've lived here this long but I don't like the school district. So we're thinking about moving and we've got our pre-approval. I just have to find a house. And then I started looking for an agent that's within our group here that I could get a referral from.
So just out of curiosity, how did you get that information from him so easily about his living situation?
All I did was just ask him if he lived around here and around there and how long he lived around there. And he just started talking.
And what do we call those when you ask a stranger those questions? What kind of questions?
Oh, so it was Ford questions, family and occupation, dreams, recreation, or
Yeah.
about
And geographical questions too, right? Like those work out
Yes.
really, really well for strangers, guys. If you're talking to a stranger, ask them, whereabouts do you guys live? Oh,
Right.
that's great. I love that area. How long have you been there? What brought you to the area? Where are you from originally? These are great, great questions to ask to meet strangers out and about. And it gets you talking right away about their living situation. All right. So last but not least, well, we've got a few, but let's talk about consistency. So this is Becky Roeder, because Jacob Stamper asked about his success rate. And I think we've covered that with Monique Landolfi in the lead generation. But Asal Aldry and Becky Reuter, they ask about the ups and downs consistency. So what would you say to folks who are looking for consistent results?
If you want to have consistent results, then you have to be consistent in your life.
100%. I agree with that statement. I think it really is that simple. It really is that simple. If you want consistent results, you need a proven strategy, something that you know how to work, and you need to do it every day. So one thing I do like to show people is this image that I found online. Somebody shared it. We think consistency means filling in the bubble every single day. The reality is consistency is more about having a small goal every day that's doable and manageable and recommitting daily. So Lisa, let me ask you, are you perfect?
No.
Okay, but you're consistent. You're really consistent, right?
I try to be. I'm not always.
Well, you're more consistent than the average bear, and I will show everybody why I say that. I actually have, and I'm trying to find it. It may take me a second, but I actually have an image of your pipeline here. And this brings us into tracking, okay? So if you really simplify your lead generation approach, guys, if you simplify it and it's something you can do on a daily basis, like let's give an example. Lisa, you built this massive $1 million pipeline in just a couple months. How many daily conversations do you have?
My goal is 2 every day. Sometimes I do more, and there's sometimes I've done less, but I try to do 2, at least 2 every day.
Okay, so it's a small daily goal. Have you been able to find a way to like it more than you used to?
Yeah, I do, because I've done it. I think the more you do it, the more you like it, because the more you do it, the better you get at it and the easier it gets, like with anything else.
And so practice, number one, okay? And I would say for a lot of my students, reframing what they're doing and understanding why they're doing it the way they're doing it takes a lot of the ick out. So for example, if calling vendor partners and building your vendor partner list makes you feel icky, you're thinking about it all wrong. The reality is that your sellers are going to need painters, your buyers are going to need movers, your neighbor is going to need a basement water damage restoration company. So the question is, are you going to go and scramble and look unprofessional when these people need these things? Or are you going to be proactive and be professional and build that list now so that it can serve you better immediately over time, right? You have 2 choices. You can be ill prepared or you can be really prepared. It's either a win for the vendor because you're actually trying to serve them and connect them to your clients, or it's a weird ask in your mind because you don't see the value. You don't understand that you don't have to do any of this. It's a win for the client, a win for the vendor, a win for you, because you come off super professional and you connect people. So really quick for consistency, okay? In about a 2-month period of daily active practice, you built a $974,000 pipeline, okay? 40% of it has a consumer stated timeline of 0 to 12 months, which means 60% is already lined up for future years. And I think that's what people need to understand with these court cases and such that are going on. This is gonna protect you guys. If you have all of these deals in your pipeline, you're gonna have more market share, because you have more time to build a relationship, you have more time for people to trust you, and you're not going to lose them when they go looking online, okay? Because you've already had all those conversations. This graph right here shows you daily consistent discovery of gross commission income. This is Lisa's lead indicator. So if Lisa continues on this track, okay, she has a potential for $1.5 million of this year's gross commission income in her pipeline. 0 to 12 months, and a potential of $2.3 million left over on day 1 of year 2. So I hope you enjoyed hearing from Lisa. Lisa, we've run over a little bit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Lisa, can you tell people, how can they get a hold of you if they have a client or a transaction in Missouri, Illinois, in your areas, and they want to send you the referral? How can they get a hold of you?
Well, they can call my phone number, 618-806-5076. They can get on my website, lisawhitacre.com. You can also find me on Facebook.
Awesome. All right, Lisa, thank you for dedicating your time today. If there's one thing I've learned from Lisa, it is the risk of overthinking. Lisa does not overthink this, okay? She doesn't allow limiting beliefs. She doesn't say, what if it doesn't work? She says, what if it does? And she just does it, guys. And she finds a way to do it that she can get behind, and she does it every day. So Lisa, it is a privilege to be in your world. You make me so happy and proud to be involved in your business every day. And I just want to thank you for your own consistency, because it just makes me so happy to watch it grow.
All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Reach out to Lisa if you have any family or friends in her area. She's a great agent. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, Lisa.
Bye.